A cheerful good morning, wherever you may be. It's great to have you here. A very special and warm welcome, of course, to our guests who are here outside for the first time. You are the main attraction. You don't know it yet, but you'll notice it during the presentation. After all, the person who invited you wants to do something good for you. Yes, I'd like to dive right into the topic. These days, you need a disclaimer for everything. Do you need a disclaimer? That didn't used to be the case, but now you always need one. So go ahead and take a screenshot. It says that you have to get rich if you do nothing. No, that's not the case. So you get what I mean. Yes, so that there are certain risks whenever you get involved in entrepreneurial activities and so on, which we are not. I can say that in advance. One of those companies that says, send us your money and we'll make more out of it for you while you do nothing, and one day your money is gone. That's not us. So we're a bit different, and that's why I'm especially happy that you managed to join us here on the line today on a Saturday. By now, there are almost 200 people listening in to hear about the opportunities available these days. I think you're all familiar with the challenge. We don't really need to go into that too much because this topic, having too much month left at the end when the money runs out and so on, we all know it, and I don't think we need to talk about it much more. The point that I think everyone should be aware of is that the only real chance to actually earn what you're worth is through self-employment. And I always use the example of a hairdresser. If you're working with a client, well, I was about to say working on a client. If you're doing a client's hair and I know the client has to pay 120 euros, you might still only get 15 euros for your work as a hairdresser because the boss takes on the risk, right? Because the business risk lies with the person running the business. That's just how it is, right? You have to find a location, you have to pay the rent, you have to pay employees, you have to buy supplies, you have to advertise to get customers, and so on and so forth. But the risk of going bankrupt is also relatively high, because 90% of all newly founded companies tend to crash and burn again within the first 4 years. So, the topic of risk, the topic of entrepreneurship, is also associated with enormous risk. And there is a type of entrepreneurial activity that, statistically speaking, offers the greatest chance of success, and that is franchising, because in most cases, entrepreneurs, lawyers, accountants, and so on have come together and built a functioning business concept. Just look at the fast food chains, look at the big franchise companies that are out there. These are business models that generally have a legitimate reason to exist, but you're basically a pseudo-entrepreneur. You put down an enormous amount of money, yes, for a branch of a big, well, we all know them. I don't want to name names or advertise here. Say a big fast food chain, for example. You're easily putting down a 7-figure sum, so over $1 million, and then you're just a pseudo-entrepreneur. Yes, you have to do exactly what you're told. You're only allowed to leave the burger on one side and then the other for a specific amount of time, and you really get every detail prescribed to you so that, yes, you're basically running a pseudo-self-employment. But the chances of making money with it are significantly higher. And then we're talking about what I'm presenting to you today, because we're talking about your own business with a unique product with no competition at all. And that's a really important point, guys, because competition and rivalry, as they say, can stimulate business, but depending on what's out there, it can also be difficult to secure your share of the market. Except, of course, if you enter the market with zero competition and an unbeatable technology, all protected by US patents, and now I'm getting to the facts, then the whole thing becomes relatively worry-free, and I'm talking about a kind of people's franchise. Yes, that's what I always like to call it, a franchise that anyone can really afford, where you can start very small and build your own business, but still have the opportunity to actually earn like a very large entrepreneur. So the risk is minimized, but the profit opportunities are maximized, or rather, it's set up so that everyone truly has the chance to be extremely successful. And that's exactly what we like to talk about. The company is called SourceLess. I got to know the company 3 years ago. The founder is from Romania. I flew over there with my son. I checked everything out, met all the employees, and so on. I was one of the first investors, or rather one of the larger investors in this company, and I just completely fell in love with the technology. What they're doing is really out there, I have to admit. Now, I'm not exactly a technocrat, so I don't really have that much knowledge about the technology, but enough to realize that we're operating on a completely different level here. That's because Alexandru Stratulat, the founder, for example, helped program Ethereum. He led a programming team in Romania where he identified what problems existed, what could be improved, and what the world really needs. And prior to the highly anticipated and significant IPO, and this is indeed the most critically important sentence on this particular slide, providing crucial context, this innovative company was meticulously valued at well over $2 billion by two of the world's absolutely top 4 auditing firms, which are truly gigantic and immensely influential global companies. And one of them said, "We see this company more in the direction of Google." Yes, even right from the start at the stock exchange and so on. So, thanks to the US patents that protect the technology, the company has a standing in the market that is truly very, very rare these days. And the chance that this corporation will develop in the direction of Google, Apple, Amazon, and so on is very high. That's quite a bold claim to make when you say that. Yes, and you know, everywhere you go, you hear people saying like, we're the greatest, we're the best, we're the coolest, whatever. But when you look at the technology, when you look at the valuations, then you understand why we are so unique. The fastest blockchain in the world. Transactions in milliseconds. The CRO from Crypto.com has already been running on this blockchain for 2 years. A full validation node, right? With Bitcoin, it's 1.7 terabytes. With us, it's 1 megabyte. So many technological innovations based on our own programming language packed into one ecosystem that it simply has to change the world. There's no other way, right? You all know the problems with Web 2. You have no control. When you upload a video somewhere, the terms and conditions state that this video no longer belongs to you. That, dear Timo, you have thank you sent to TikTok. Now it belongs to TikTok. And this picture that you just posted on Facebook, now it belongs to Facebook. You own nothing there. You have no privacy. You are being spied on wherever you post something, no matter where from. Today, you are a transparent person, whether you like it or not. Some people don't care, but in the long run, that's really brutally dangerous. No security. Yes, last year, billions and billions in crypto were stolen through phishing emails, hacker attacks, and so on. Which, by the way, is not possible on the blockchain source. And you have no ownership. So that means every domain you buy in the old Web 2 has to be rented. No matter how well known the domain is, it is rented. It does not belong to you. And now we come to a solution based on this unique technology, a blockchain-based Web 3 domain with WNFD. This is a certificate of ownership. So here, this domain actually belongs to you. If Timo now has the str dot, yes, that's also the domain name str dot, once again the name Stratulat comes up. So someone is really building quite an interesting monument to himself here. The str domain str.timo, then it belongs to him and there won't be a second one, right? The certificate of ownership belongs to you. This also includes your own AI. I think it's clear to us whether we like AI or not, and of course a lot of fear is being spread out there. You can't get ahead without AI. If you sleep through this trend now, you'll end up being the runner-up. Yes, it's like with televisions, when at some point they switch to flat screens and so on, tube TVs. The companies that were early on are gone because they missed the trend. And here, you have to adopt AI as well. We have a very special proprietary AI that translates into over 90 national languages, but with a level of perfection that no other AI can match. STR Talk is a messenger that works with encryption, where nothing is stored on servers, nothing can be recorded, nothing can be hacked, including payment features and the translation function. That means you can speak into it in German, and the person on the other end hears it in Japanese, Romanian, or whatever language, and this also works for online conferences. They always ask, why are you still using Zoom? Exactly, because there are still a few things that need to be set up on servers, namely these translation functions. They have to run on servers, right? Everything else is peer-to-peer, meaning from one user directly to another. And Ccoin Finance, that's a complete revolution in the financial sector. For me, that's the ultimate door opener. Ccoin Finance is a topic that I'll explain to you in a bit more detail in a moment. What's really interesting here is that this entire product, just as you see it here, is actually sold to customers for a one-time fee of $99. $99, one time only. People come to us and ask, why not €100 per year or €20 a month or something like that? Yes, that was a big discussion when we started because the product itself is actually far too inexpensive, but that's exactly what makes it accessible to everyone, no matter where they are in the world. At $99, you can get it anywhere, whether in Africa, Eastern Europe, or any low-income country. Everyone can use it, and that's an extremely important point in our concept. Here we're talking about the perfect interface between fiat and crypto. Fiat refers to traditional currencies like the euro, dollar, yen, and so on. And you know, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and so on and so forth. This interface is becoming increasingly complicated. Yes, banks don't transfer to crypto exchanges and so on and so forth. Here, an independent ecosystem has been created where you can send funds back and forth in milliseconds, completely free of charge, using a so-called hybrid exchange. A hybrid exchange where you can swap crypto for fiat and so on and so forth. And now I just want to quickly share my screen for the Ccoin Exchange.finance. Quick thumbs up from my colleagues. Can you see it now? Thanks, Timo. So this is, for example, the interface of Ccoin Finance. And here you have crypto. Yes, it's being integrated right now. That's happening right now. In the next few days, the hybrid exchange will be integrated. You have your own IBAN and you have an offshore account. And this offshore account is in Laos. The great thing about such an offshore account is that no authority can access it. Right? So once again, I always get informed about this, and then people say, yeah, but we don't want to evade taxes here or something like that. And I said, that has nothing to do with it at all. The point is, if you live in a country, of course you have to comply with its requirements, right? You pay your taxes, whatever they may be, you declare your things just as you normally do. But if an authority ever gets the unpleasant idea to access your account, they can of course do that at the Stadssparkasse Wanne-Eickel, but not with your account in Laos. So, and here something really exciting is integrated, because we are going to bring millions and millions of users into Ccoin Finance, and it will expand extremely quickly. And then you can transfer to your Ccoin partners, you can transfer to an external crypto wallet, you can of course transfer to an external bank account, but you can also transfer to Ccoin friends. So, and now for example here, I still have Timo Gisela listed. If I now enter Thomas, for example, then it shows me, that's Thomas Entz. So then I can click on that and say, okay, I'll send him $100 now, and then you'll see something funny. It's fee-free. And when I click on it, it's over there in milliseconds. As soon as I click here, it's with him, fee-free, and then you can send it back in the same second and I have it back with me. Yes, and all of this within a closed system. That means billions will flow into this system, and they won't have to be checked every single time, because the funds coming in have, of course, already been verified beforehand. They come either from a crypto exchange, because I send in USDC or soon Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, or they come from a bank account. Yes, because that money has already been checked as well. So the money within the ecosystem no longer needs to be verified, and I can even send 10 million from America to Europe. And we're currently experiencing in practice just how difficult that is as a company, how challenging it is to make such transfers, how many institutions and regulations are involved, and so on. That means a closed system. It's as if we were the Sparkasse Wanne-Eickel, to stick with that example. And all members worldwide are participants at this Sparkasse Wanne-Eickel and can now simply transfer funds internally back and forth in milliseconds. That means everyone, their families, everyone should have such an account. The people you do business with here, your landlord, come on, $99, get your STR domain, set up your Ccoin Finance account, and I can send you your rent in milliseconds. And no one else can access the money you receive either. What has been created here is very impressive, and there are a lot more development stages coming that you'll see. Of course, the Visa card is included, and of course, so are Apple Pay, Google Pay, and all those features. So, you have a perfect platform here where fiat, crypto, and the corresponding cards give you total independence in the financial sector. And now, a little glimpse into the future. This, dear friends, is, well, let me just say, the money machine. But really, it's all a license to print money, folks. Because here, and again, secured by a US patent, there's a proprietary blockchain-based internet that runs via satellites. But this has nothing to do with Skylink. Instead, here you have the possibility to actually have your internet on your phone via this STR domain without roaming and directly linked to the STR domain worldwide. Whether you're on a ship sitting somewhere in the desert or on a plane, it doesn't matter where you are. And that's for about $20 a month, with around 50% of that going to the sales organization. That means we're talking about subscription revenue here, and this is a mass market product, folks. In other words, we're talking about gaining many millions of customers in a relatively short period of time, who will not only use the STR domain with all its features, but of course also the internet. And that's when people come and say, yeah, but how can anyone make money with 99 and so on? Well, you can if it's in large volumes. Once you've sold 10 million of those, then it gets interesting. And if people then dutifully pay their $20 a month for the internet, it becomes extremely lucrative for this company as well. And that's the whole picture. I think asking that question is rather silly. If I say that any reasonably intelligent Central European understands that you can make a huge business with such a product, I'm not really going out on a limb, am I? And of course, I'm someone who likes to lead by example because I come from a background of secondary school, wholesale merchant, and I always had just one goal, to become financially independent. And through this sales model, I really did become independent. And I love living in Dubai. It's been 17 years now. I can work from anywhere in the world. All I need is my phone, my laptop, that's it. I'm independent when it comes to my time. I can work whenever I want. I also like working until, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning. Yeah, but I also enjoy sleeping in. I'm a fan of waking up naturally. Yeah, and before noon, there's no point trying to reach me, but in return, I'm available for a very, very long time. Passive, unlimited income. Why do I say unlimited? Because I mean unlimited. There's no upper limit here. Everything is open. And no matter where you want to live, if you don't like it here anymore, in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, wherever, then you just wake up tomorrow in Cyprus, or in Spain, or in Portugal, or in Dubai, or wherever you want, because you can work from anywhere in the world. What we do, we have our own SASP shop system. What does that mean? SourceLess Affiliate Shop Program, SASP. And we're building a branch network, because if we want to supply millions and millions of people with these domains, we need shops. Not just one big one, but millions of small shops, because the product needs explanation. People always say, yeah, well, but instead of doing sales now, couldn't we just spend millions on advertising instead? Yes, we could. But then only the entrepreneur would be the winner at the end of the day. But it really does require a lot of explanation. I have to show you how to activate a domain like this. I have to show you how to set up and do that shit and so on. We do all of that. We train you and you show it to your customers. It's a relatively simple thing. Again, location independent, no employees, maximally scalable, unlimited income. Your ongoing costs in this franchise, mini franchise, are $99, which have to be paid once a year. I think that's manageable. Yeah, recently we took a look at the facts for a fries stand. For a fries stand, you pay between $50,000 and $150,000. Right? And at that point, you haven't even bought any sausages or whatever, and you haven't earned a single cent yet. And here you can get started from $500 going up to $100,000 or more. We'll tell you in a moment what we recommend. That means just like with a huge franchise corporation, you have an umbrella organization here that takes care of everything, has prepared everything, organizes the accounting, manages the shop, has everything perfectly set up for you, and you get all of this personalized for you for a ridiculously low price, just a one-time payment of $149. And your first domain, worth $99, is already included. So in the end, you're basically paying $50 right now to start your franchise. There you go. It's not exactly a franchise in the strict sense, but you know what I mean, right? For your small business model. And then, of course, you have to stock your shop. There you go. Now, for low-wage countries and so on, we also have smaller packages, like for $500, for example. But if you only have 5 or 6 domains available that you can sell, that's actually pretty little for a shop if you want to do big global business. I think you'll agree with me on that. $149 is the starting point. Then we have packages here, and you can see the profit margin changes, right? With the $500 package, you buy the domain for $83 and sell it for $99. And with the 100,000 package, you buy in at $39.60, so roughly $40, and sell for $100. So you make $60 per domain, whereas with the $500 package, you earn roughly estimated about $15. So that's 4 times as much because you're simply buying more inventory. Because what you see here, these domain packages are nothing more than buying inventory. All right? That means you have costs of $149. Your own domain included for $99. And simply based on the experience we've gained here, we've put together a package that we strongly recommend to you. This is the $10,000 package. It includes 160 domains. You have a sales value of 14,000. That means you turn 10,000 into 14,000. That means you're making 40% on top here, depending on how long it takes you to sell the domains. Some people will sell them within a week, others in a month. If it takes you a year, you've still turned 10,000 into 14,000. So we're not talking about paying a 7-figure franchise fee here, where your money is gone, even if the business fails. No, you've bought goods worth 10,000. It's like stocking your snack bar with $10,000 worth of sausages, which you then sell, and you end up making more than you paid for them. Very important, people often think, yeah, but I've now invested $10,149 in the business. Yes, but you also bring in 14,000 by selling off the domains. But what makes this package so interesting is the matching bonus. Matching bonus of 20%. I'll explain that to you in the career model in a moment, because this package pays for itself entirely just through that. Yes, if you work the system with us like this, sorry, I need to have some good coffee. It's basically still before I even get up for me. Cheers. When you get started with this, you also get access to our SASP 10,000 Club, or as we call it, the SASP Diamond Club, right? And there you get more information, you have other benefits, and so on. 4 ways to earn. Now we're getting to the business side of things, okay? We need this branch structure globally. We're not just talking about Germany, Austria, Switzerland. We're talking about everywhere, about all of Europe, Asia, Africa, America, all over the world. We're starting to build this branch structure on all continents at the same time. That means no matter where you currently live, I know, for example, Christine lives in Namibia, she can start building her business there. Or our partners who are building up in Russia, no matter where you live, you can build this business, and of course, you can also do it globally from there. Retail profit comes from the sale of, the domains. Direct bonus is 10%, binary bonus is 10%, matching bonus, which I'll explain in more detail in a moment, is 5 to 20%. So how does this work now? This is now your own virtual shop. Imagine you're opening a business, but not on the high street. It's in the virtual space. All right. You've treated yourself to the 10,000 package, and your task now is to fill these 2 spots in this binary structure. Because this binary referral structure, binary means 2, gives you the opportunity to place only 2 positions directly under your affiliate system. That means, to stick with the metaphor, you're basically the franchisor now, and you have the chance to open 2 more of your own branches, right? Just like a hair salon would do if their first salon is going really well, or a Greek restaurant that says, wow, business is so good, I'll open another one in the neighboring town and maybe another one somewhere else, right? So now you're opening 2 new branches. You should pick the best people you can think of for that. People who think entrepreneurially, people who are actually willing to make an investment and say, okay, I'm going to take this seriously now. I'm going to build something really big there. So pick out qualified people. Already start thinking about who's fed up with what's currently going on out there, and who's open to actually starting a new business with huge profit potential. So once you've found these 2 people, we'll bring them in, and you've already earned your first $2,000. Right? That's the direct bonus and binary bonus you've earned. $2,000 because you've given 2 people the opportunity to build their own business under the umbrella of a multi-billion-dollar corporation and achieve financial independence. And now the following happens. Of course, you now work with these people and say, hey, find your 2 most important ones. And when those 2 have managed to do that, each of them will have earned the $2,000 that you just earned. And now, without you personally having shown anyone else, because those aren't your personal contacts down there, let's say, for example, this here is Timo and this is Viola, right? Then these are Timo's 2 best contacts and these are Viola's 2 best contacts. And now your income has already increased by nearly $1,400 again. This is already the first passive income in your life where you basically didn't have to actively make any contacts yourself, but rather they came from the contacts. Now let's imagine this 1 level deeper. Timo and Viola have their first 2 people and help them find their first 2 as well. And you can see in this structure, everyone has only personally structured their two most important contacts beneath them. And I also asked these people beforehand, hey, do you have two who want to get started just like you? Once again, yes. Then you have people who say, yes, I really want to do this. And I also know a lot of people who want to get started like this, but I personally don't have the 10,000 right now. Is there another way to get started? Yes, there is. You can also start smaller, but to get off to the best start, well, opening a shop with 6 domains isn't exactly a big deal. Right? So, to get the most out of the earning system, including the matching bonus, and to help you become as successful as possible as quickly as possible, this way of starting is really perfect. And that's why I ask beforehand, hey, do you have 2 people who might be interested? Okay? Everyone here only brought in 2 people, but now just think this through a bit further. Imagine that in the first week, you brought in Timo and Viola. They also need a week to bring in their 2, and then those people need another week. So then Timo and Viola are already earning money, and so are you. I don't want to make you think you'll get rich overnight, but I've seen this happen. Yes, next week you'll get to hear from Dennis. Dennis comes from a trade background, and he once started in a sales concept like this with a binary structure. And by the 3rd month, his monthly statement suddenly showed 6 figures. 6 figures means over 100,000. Why? Because it gains momentum. Because at some point in your left leg, yes, so everything that develops underneath here, suddenly 100 people join in that week. 100 people means 1 million in sales. On the other side, 150 people join. That's 1.5 million in sales, right? Then suddenly tens of thousands in commissions show up at the top here, and you rub your eyes and ask, where did that come from? Because here, a product that humanity needs is being distributed en masse through our branch system out there, is being placed. But of course, the question always comes up, yeah, but what if I have Timo and Viola, and I can think of even more people who are eager to make a difference, who are fed up, who want to live where they can decide for themselves, and so on. What do I do with them? Now, this is where it truly gets interesting and quite significant, because if you happen to have more contacts within your network and these particular spots here are already completely taken or occupied, then the very next available person will automatically be placed into the next readily available and open spot within the system. And you can then decide, where do they go underneath? So, and the next one will also be placed down there again. Now, these 2 here are also your personal contacts, just like Timo and Viola, but they are sitting deeper in the structure. That means these people here, yes, so if this were me and I put my next ones down here, then Timo has now received some sales volume. 20,000 in sales came in, and Timo didn't do anything for it. Right? And if these people keep working, then that's gifted sales volume. On the other side, it's exactly the same story. And of course, people do that too, because Timo knows more than just those 2. And so does Viola. And those people have to be placed somewhere as well. What you see here is that the timing of when you start is extremely important. And it doesn't matter whether you start in July or in December. Who cares, right? Because the company is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But whether you, Timo, join here now or Timo says, oh, I'll just wait 2 or 3 weeks because I still want to go on vacation for a bit and I have a few other things going on. And now Timo doesn't join here, but instead joins here. It's only been 3 weeks. Yeah, and there are only 1, 2, 3, 4 people in between. But if, for example, one of these 3 people here is Mario, and he easily brings in 5 to 10,000 people here over the next 12 months. And now there's a big difference whether you're sitting above Mario or below Mario. A single person in between makes a huge difference. That's why I know it's tough, because now you can't sleep anymore and you're thinking, how can I get in there as quickly as possible? And do you want me to tell you how? Rightfully so. I've seen things, like someone who needed 3 days to organize the money and then joined another project, right? And in the meantime, 2 people got in between and they were absolute top performers. And then somehow, later, I met him a year after and he said, you know, those 30,000 people, they would all be under me if I had, right? So I just want to tell you a bit of speed is needed here too, and that's why I wanted to include this slide. I admit it. Yeah? And I know some of you are thinking now, oh, not this again, my house, my car, my boat. Let me tell you something. That's what motivated me when I started out as a small wholesale merchant and a secondary school graduate. I wanted to become a multimillionaire, and I became a multimillionaire through network marketing. Network marketing gave me the opportunity, this kind of structure. Yes, sales gave me the chance to live wherever I want, to live in the most beautiful house, and all of it financially independent. And we're here to help you with that. Nothing is handed to you there. It involves work, of course, but it's great work because we chat all day anyway. Why the heck aren't you talking about a cool business? I'm watching Sandra Zimmerman. Sandra Zimmerman is truly one of our most influential and impactful mega social media ladies. If you carefully learn what these incredible ladies, particularly around Viola, Sandra, and Sarah, can effectively do in the dynamic social media field and you diligently copy that, you will undoubtedly go absolutely crazy. Yes, we also have Jennifer, whom we originally met back then. I didn't know her. She made her first TikTok video, now for another project, and suddenly it had 300,000 or 400,000 views. How does that happen? I don't know much about it, but there are people who do. And Sandra, in the last project, made an incredible amount of money just through this topic of social media. And that's what you'll be shown. So if you still have goals, wishes, and dreams, you're in the right place here. And you can bring them out again because there's no reason why you shouldn't be driving a Porsche at 25. Right? Some people say, I don't care. For one person, the goal is, I want a 100 square meter penthouse apartment with a view of Heidelberg. Congratulations, go get it. Right? Someone else wants... Everyone has different goals, dreams, wishes, but what really matters is finding the vehicle that helps you get there. And believe me, it's never been easier than now. So many people out there are fed up with what's going on and are looking for a way out. Your start looks like this. You get in touch with the person who invited you and say, yes, I want to. We know how it works. Then you say, yes, I want to. And that's when it all begins. And then you'll be shown how to set up your account. You'll do this together via Zoom. And then your account will be created and you can get started. Then, for Monday evening at 8 o'clock, I'll be hosting this live webinar again. And you can invite your contacts and say, hey, I've discovered something amazing. This thing is going to change the world because they're coming with a technology that's unbeatable, a company that was valued at over $2 billion even before going public. And now you have the chance to basically start your own mini franchise there. Join the live webinar on Monday and you'll be shown exactly how it works. I can't explain it to you yet. Yeah, so what exactly is it? I can't tell you. Just join in, listen to it. If you don't tell me anything in advance, then I'm not coming. That's your loss. Because whether you join now or a pinball machine breaks down in Las Vegas, it's all the same. Because out there, millions of people are waiting to get started here. And that's why let's build our business under the roof of this multi-billion-dollar corporation. And I promise you, in a year or two, you'll be at an event and you'll say, what kind of movie is going on here? The official launch event will take place in Frankfurt in grand style in mid-October. There you'll of course get to meet Alexandra Stratulat live and of course me and everyone else you see here all the time. Just very quickly now. Take out your phone, you've got it next to you anyway. Turn on your camera. Quick, point it at the QR code and then tap on Telegram at the bottom. Join and then you're already in the SASP Germany group. Thank you for your time and well, in that spirit, be fruitful and multiply.